this video, we're going to take a continuing look at the Extrude Faces options and tools. We're looking at our model of a crow, and we've modeled the body, we've pulled out a beak, and we've pulled out the tail. And now we're ready to move on to the character's legs and extrude some geometry out for them. I'm going to switch over and just kind of take a look at where we're at so far as our symmetry is concerned. And I'm going to hit 5 on the keyboard once I'm in my perspective view. And I can see that I have a model, but it's pretty blocky because we've only worked in two axes when we were looking at it just in the side view. So before going on too much further, I'm going to switch over to my front view and we'll just shape this up just a little bit. We'll just grab some of these verts here and just kind of scale them in. And we'll be able to shape this up much better and much further once we have the overall shape complete. Now we can also see too there that my reference material isn't lined up perfectly there. To fix that, select it, and let's bring up our outliner here. I'm going to go to my perspective shortcut there, and I have image plane set up there. Let's go to our quad view. I just want to make sure I have the right image plane. And we can go to the attribute editor or the channel box and modify the values that we have here. Let's go into our attribute editor. Might be a little bit easier to see. And what I neglected to do here is on the front view, I didn't set the height all the way. And if we looked at the side view, we would see that the height on the side view is actually 25.503. So I'm just going to do the same for my crow, and then you can see we get the image lining up a little bit better. When dealing with reference material, especially if it's coming from photographs, you're always going to have a little bit of distortion. When you actually have a drawing, you can kind of cheat and line up that so you don't have distortion, but then you're not looking at a realistic image on top of that. Either way, again, once you see it in 3D space, you're going to want to make all sorts of changes to it anyways. So there we go. We just kind of pushed and pulled that a little bit. We don't want to spend a ton of time pushing vertices around. Let's get on to extruding the legs out. So I'm going to select the faces there. I just selected the one because I have my symmetry on, and I'll click on my modeling toolkit again and choose extrude. I'm going to click on scale and scale these up. But now notice what happens. It sees that as two connected faces. Now, at first, you might think, well, so what? That's kind of what we've been doing. And I'm just going to undo here. Really, what I'm looking for is I want to extrude a leg out of this face and pull it down separately. So if both of these faces here are connected, then when I pull a single leg out, it's going to actually be the other leg as well, and they're going to be merged in the center. So we got to split these apart. I'm going to select that and hit extrude. And the option is right here. It says keep faces together. Normally, we like to do this. We like to have our faces attached, but in this case, I'm going to set that to off. Let's go ahead and scale it again. And now you can see with those off, now I get two separate legs. They're no longer together. And you can see we can toggle that as well. That's perfect. That's what we're after. Let's now switch back to that side view. Looks like I made a really big error there and extruded his legs out of the front of his body. He's not going to like that. Let's go ahead and select the proper faces, and we'll turn keep faces together off. Select that and scale those down. Okay, now they're coming out the right area. And I'm just going to hit W, which will kill the extrude options, but still leave me there with the move tool, just so that I can position this up a little bit better. And I'm going to lower it down just a touch. And I'm going to uniformly scale it just a little bit there. Still have those faces selected so I can hit extrude. And I'm going to grab from the center manipulator and pull those down. Getting a little bit of distortion there because I didn't grab it properly. Let's grab that and pull those down in the Z. That's better. And let's scale that. So let's just rotate this. Let's extrude again. Pull that down. And again, we want to rotate our geometry so that it is in alignment with the flow of the character. Scale that just a bit. I'm going to hit G to continue that extrusion. Pull that down. Scale that just a little bit. Now we come to the actual foot, and I'm going to pull just a straight extrusion down, and we'll rotate this so that it is nice and planar. And then let's switch over to our perspective view so we can get a little bit better idea of what's happening. Let's extrude the rest of the foot here, and we're going to need a little bit of space in between toes. So here we're kind of planning ahead. I'm going to choose extrude, and I think we'll just use our thickness value here. Now, when I do this extrude, it's a little too fast, a little uncontrollable. We can click in here and actually type a value, but if we don't really know what that value is and we don't want to be punching in numbers forever, we can hold Control on the keyboard and then click again, and you'll see that that reduces the increment that Maya uses. So now it's using a 0.01 increment when I alter my thickness, whereas if I let go of Control, it uses a value of zero point 0.1. So I'm just going to hold that Control down, and we'll just pull that out just a little bit. I think right there is probably pretty good. And let's hit extrude again. I'm going to hold Control and click on that thickness. Bring out those big crow feet. Now extrude the toes, and we're going to get a little crazy here and try to extrude the back toe as well. Let's see what we get. So we'll hit extrude. Go to that thickness. I am holding Control down. Pull that out. We'll just go to like 0.5. Close enough. That back toe worked for us just fine. Actually, let's go in and we'll just type in 0.4. That looks better. I'll hit G, and we'll add another section of thickness there, and let's keep it consistent. 0.4 to that as well. Okay, with all of those selected, the front and the back, I'm going to click on the scale tool, and I can uniformly scale those so that they kind of come down to a little bit of a point. And let's switch to a side view. When I pull this down in the Y, you can see that my front faces come down properly, but my back face, which is on the opposite side of things, goes up as opposed to down. This is kind of a symmetry thing and also kind of our coordinate system kind of a thing. So we just want to keep our eye on that and make sure. We're going to come in here anyways. You can see that these toes do not line up. So we'll manually push and pull to get these vertices to all be exactly where we want them to be anyways. Just gives us a good start. So we'll go ahead and move those, shift those up. Now you can go back through the rest of the model and just continue to tweak it. We could take the front up here, translate this in because we have symmetry on. Just do something like that just a little bit. We'll need some extra geometry at some point here so that we can start giving him some real definition.